Hello, and welcome to the Third Sector. I'm your host, Tamara Brinkman. In our society, there are three sectors: the public, the private, and the nonprofit. And it's the third sector that we are here to talk about today. My guest today will be Leslie Bolser, who's the program director from More Than Words. And coming up later will be Misty Hollis, who's the executive director of the YMCA. But before we get started with Leslie, I did want to take a moment to share with you all that I run the United Way of Whitewater Valley here serving Wayne and Union counties. And More Than Words that we're here to talk about is a program that was started by the United Way. And so Leslie Bolser is joining us today. She's the program director, and she's going to tell us all about this wonderful program that was started at the United Way. It is fully funded by the United Way, not using donor dollars. And it's just a super important program, and we're really proud of it. And Leslie, it is what it is because of Leslie Bolser. So take it away, Leslie. Tell us about More Than Words.
Hi, well, thank you for inviting me to come on and talk with you guys about More Than Words. I always love to share what we're doing and how people can be a part of it. So I think that More Than Words started in about 2014. And at that time, the United Way pulled together a group of people who were concerned about the state of young people in our community. Particularly the graduation rate at Richmond High School had spurred some conversations about what responsibility and educational attainment looked like for young people and how the community could come together and be a part of that. So in those conversations, a lot of things were discovered. And one of those was that we really lacked community-wide at that point. Lacked a sort of sense of who we are and how we treat each other. So common values or a common language for the way that we're going to interact with each other and the values that we hold as a community. So the United Way, through those conversations and by listening to what the community had to offer, the United Way put funding behind this program about 18 months later. And it started very slowly and very small, and it has grown. And we have a lot of people in schools, outside of schools, in businesses, youth serving organizations across the community who have agreed that we're going to talk to kids in using the same language and the same voice about how we treat each other and how we interact. And so I'm just excited that I get to be a part of that, and I get to help people figure out the best way to share these monthly words that we use and the ideas and activities and things behind them. I'm just excited to be a part of it. So it's a really, really fun initiative that the United Way started that has taken on really a life of its own, for sure.
That's great. Tell us, you mentioned the monthly word. So take us through a little bit about that. That's a fun piece to this program.
Absolutely. I'm glad that you brought that up because it's one of my favorite things is that we use about 30 words over 36 months. So they rotate about every 3 years. And what I love about it is, one, that it allows for creativity. So if we talked about respect every August or one word every so often, or every, timed out every so often,
right,
I think it would take away some of the creativity and the excitement and the interesting nature of what this is. So I love that there are several that we talk about, and not just a few. And I also love that every single month, the word that we talk about is something that everyone needs to get better at, not just kids, not just a certain segment of our population, not just one group of people. Everyone needs to improve on these things. So when I send out the email every month to all of our community partners, our business partners, and our organizational partners, I try to highlight how each of us play a role in growing in these areas and talking to young people about them as well. So for example, this month we're talking about peace. And it's not world peace or big global peace. It's really just getting along with people that you know. Mm-hmm. It's very interpersonal, and it's very much about how to know when to let go of an argument and how to know when to stand up for something you believe in, but doing it in a respectful way that encourages peace and that doesn't encourage discord. So we all can work on that, right? We all can do better at having peaceful relationships, myself included. So it's a really good thing for me and for my family, as well as the community, and I really like that part.
Yeah, I absolutely love the word of the month. Even though I have a list tucked somewhere in a file, I love the surprise. It's like a reveal. What's it going to be? And I do
Yeah,
like that it's always poised so that it is something that I can think about. And you're right. It doesn't just pertain to, our youth. It pertains to all of us. And it's a nice reminder because they are words like patience. They're words like kindness. They're things that, as human beings, we all strive to be better. We can implement a little bit
absolutely.
more of it. So, spend a month working on that word, and it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Tell us about the kind of the age range that you guys tend to work with through More Than Words.
Yeah. So we provide resources directly to schools that work with kids. So the model is that it's just me, just the More Than Words folks that I work with and my volunteers. There are several wonderful people that I get to work with every month to reach out to kids. But if it was just us, we really couldn't influence that many kids. But because we have partnerships with all of the public schools in Wayne and Union County and many of the private schools as well, we can resource them with things that those teachers and those principals and people who are with kids every single day in youth serving organizations or in schools can use. So that's a little bit unique about this, is that we really rely on connections with other organizations and other people to be speaking to kids. So our target audience is all kids because we think that they all can learn to use these better, and that right now, they're in school or they're learning things, but ultimately they're going to be citizens and taxpayers and people in our community, employees or owners of businesses in our community. And so we hope that by developing these skills in them now, developing these attributes, it's going to lead not only to kids who make some different choices maybe in their young years, but also can be really positive contributors, creative problem solvers, and kind people in our community later as well. In 2014, when we started talking about this, what we realized was if you speak to a 12-year-old about kindness, it's probably too late, really. There's a lot of space and time before that we should be talking about that. So we talked about the role of parents and the role of employers and the role of adults in our community. And that if all of us are having conversations about this, then parents at home are better equipped to talk to their kids before they're in school, while they're in preschool, all the way through school. And so it's really, while our target audience is kids, we really speak to everyone because we know that all of those adults have influence in at least one kid's life at some point. It's a grandkid, it's a neighbor, it's their own child. And so we want to make sure that everybody feels like they can have these conversations.
Tell me, how do you see the impact of this program in the community? Well, with the kids, and then also within the community.
Yeah, so we hear lots of stories all the time about how this is positive for the people who are able to use it. We see, I don't even know sometimes how people are utilizing the resource that are given. I'll go into a school and I'll see something on the wall as I go in, and I'll think, oh wow, that's how they chose to use this. The number of students that interact with this word every month, like for peace, for example, there are thousands of students across Wayne and Union counties who are interacting with this word in various ways each month. I have an email list that I resource each month with probably 100 or so businesses and community organizations that are also using this in their own way. One of the other things I really like about this is that to be a partner, it's free because the United Way funds it. And partners have no list of requirements to be a partner of More Than Words. We give resources so that people can use this in a natural and organic way in their own place of work or their organization. And so people can choose to use it however they do. And we've seen lots of different people use it in different ways. But one of the great ways that I see impact is when we have organizations reach out to us for partnerships because they see the benefit that it's creating for the people that they work with. So Morrison Reeves Library is an amazing partner that we have, that we work with all year long. The Chamber of Commerce is an amazing partner that we have. All of the schools that I mentioned, so many other, Reed Health and their the employees that they reach on a monthly basis are, it's the largest employer in our community. So I think that when we work with partners like this, who have an impact in their own area of influence, then we know that this is a valuable resource that folks are interested in using.
Now, tell us about the staff. So you're the program director. Is it all volunteer-based? How do you pull off all this work?
So it's myself and Tricia Sheridan works also with More Than Words, and anything that anyone in the community sees that's creative or interesting or visually appealing, it all came from Tricia Sheridan. Yeah. She is an unbelievable resource. And so she provides a lot of things that we give to schools and that we also give to parents. We give family packs out each month to places like Centerstone and other places that have waiting rooms or places where kids might be interacting with their parents. And we resource those folks to have conversations with their kids. And Tricia makes and creates all of that from scratch. We also have volunteers who normally, under non-COVID pandemic circumstances, volunteer in the schools to do school assemblies, to help with other events as the schools need. But right now, we've pivoted that to online videos that we give them each month, several videos featuring community members doing read-alouds, hosting little skits and different things that they can play either in school or at home that emphasize the word and help with the curriculum that we also provide for them each month. So it's a small but mighty team, I'll say that.
Well, you guys are a tremendous team, that's for sure, and your volunteers are wonderful. And I've certainly had the good fortune of being able to attend one of those school assemblies, you know, prior to everything changing at the time that it did. And it's so much fun to see those kiddos. They have so much fun. And I so look forward to, you know, or hope that with, you know, things changing and maybe new school year coming up, that some of that will be able to resume, because I think that actual live interaction is just so great. If people want to learn more about More Than Words, now we have been putting the website up so people can take a look at that. Any other ways, if they wanted to volunteer, learn more about the program, just reach out to you, Leslie? What's the best way for folks to do that?
I think the easiest way is for people to go directly to the United Way office. You can Google that and find out how to contact the office. You can use the website and they'll direct folks to me. Like I said before, it's free for any business or organization to participate, and we'll just send you an email each month with everything you need to know. And then anybody who wants to volunteer would just sit down with me and talk about what interests and skills they have and how we can put those to use in the organization. So I think that's probably the easiest way, is to reach out to the United Way office, but we'd love to hear from potential partners or potential volunteers or just interested parties who want to know more information.
Well, we will be happy to share. So if any of you are interested, just reach out to the United Way office and we'll put you in touch with Leslie, any of the businesses. She's got so many wonderful partnerships. It's a terrific program. We can't say enough wonderful things about it. So thank you, Leslie Bolser, for joining me today and sharing.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
And so grateful for you to share with us the great work that the community is benefiting from, you know, the work that you do. So we thank you very much for that. When we come back, we will be with the Executive Director of the Richmond YMCA, Misty Hollis. So stay with me. Welcome back. Joining me now is Misty Hollis. She is the Executive Director of the Richmond YMCA. Misty, thank you so much for joining me. Hello, how are you?
It's good to see you, even if it's on a screen. We're doing great. Thank you for asking.
Well, the good news is I think we're moving a little bit closer to hopefully being able to do have people come into the studio, because I only started this a few months ago in the hosting duties, and we're still not able to have folks in the studio, but I think we are just, you know, generally moving closer to seeing that day come soon. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, well, welcome very much. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Obviously, we talk about the nonprofit sectors in our community and wanted to have you come on and tell us about all of what YMCA has going on, because you guys are busy and you do a lot, and I just want to make sure our community knows about it. So yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. First of all, thank you for what you do as the United Way Director, and you've just done a phenomenal job leading us through COVID. My gosh, you started and then you started going heavy and strong, and all of a sudden COVID happened. I don't even think you were on staff for 6 months.
Just barely.
So you've
Barely.
just done a phenomenal job at
Thank
you
you.
and the board to see what needs we have in the nonprofit industry, this third sector, and we just appreciate all you've done. So thank you so much.
Oh,
But we so at the Y, I call it the three-legged stool. We have what we call our health and fitness arm, and our mission is truly still built around, we're 113 years old in Richmond, and we have our faith-based mission is still focused on healthy mind, spirit, and body for all. So that leads us to the healthy component of just, we want you to physically be well, which also leads to mental health, wellness as well. And then we also support our families through childcare. And I'll talk a little bit when you're ready about the expansion of all of that in the last 2 years. And then our last piece, which is still a very important piece to me and to my heart, is youth sports. And we have just grown that tremendously and have an exciting announcement to make regarding that when you're ready today.
Well, I say let's not hold back. Break the news. We're ready
we're
to hear
excited.
it.
So we have, when I came here 6 years ago, we really decided to focus our sports on pre-K to third grade. And then 2 years ago, expanded flag football to fourth grade. So we did kindergarten to fourth grade. And we have really done well in that. I mean, unfortunately, with COVID, we served 50% of what we normally have served in the past. But traditionally, we're around 400 to 600 kids a year. And this year, starting in the fall, the YMCA will be taking over the 5th and 6th grade tackle program for Richmond, Indiana. And we will still be a part of the Richmond Youth Football League. They will still be helping us on the side of training our coaches, the equipment piece, but all of the components of registration, recruiting of our volunteers, the organizing of the games for 5th and 6th grade tackle will come through the YMCA. So we're excited to be a part of that partnership and making and just expanding the feeder program into Richmond community schools.
Well, we are thrilled that you broke that news here today. That's really exciting. That's wonderful that expansion is going to happen, and you guys do such tremendous work with your youth sports. Before we turn to the youth sports piece of it, sorry, tell me just a little bit more about, sorry, I just lost myself for a second, but go ahead. And I know when these things happen, right? Too many things going on in our mind. I was so thrilled with your breaking news. I was like, oh my gosh.
It's different.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. Because that's such big news, and I'm sure there are going to be some folks who want to volunteer on that. Normally we come into this a little bit later, but we'll remind folks again, if you do want to volunteer, if you're interested in knowing more about that, what's a great way for folks to start connecting with you, Misty? Because I know people are going to be reaching out.
Yeah, we are, any sport that you want to be a part of and coach or just be here in some capacity to help with sports, you can reach out at the YMCA, and our phone number is 765-962-7504 is our phone number. But they also can go to our website, which is Richmond Family YMCA.org. And there are ways to contact us through the website as well.
Perfect. And we were able to get that website address up on the screen a couple of times for our viewing audience. And so that way, if any of you all out there, are excited by this news, as I lost my train of thought. Reach out to the YMCA, reach out to Misty, because it'll be that time before you know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, take us into a little bit of your daycare stuff, Misty. There has been some really great work on the part of YMCA. I know there was some partnership in that, but really answering a need in our Western Wayne community specifically, which is an identified child care desert.
Correct. Yeah, we have 3 after-school sites, and one of those, the United Way, is a big part of supporting. So we have an after-school site program at Charles Elementary, which is for kindergarten to 6th grade. In Liberty, Indiana, we also have a kindergarten to sixth grade element there that is funded through a school age child care grant from the state of Indiana. And then we have what we call a bus waiter program that is in College Corner, which is fully funded by United Way, and we appreciate that partnership there. But we, at the Y, one of related to our mission is how do we help our families? And we want to make sure that all families are able to be productive in life. And a part of that is challenges for our single families and working families is childcare. And it is a real need, not just to the Richmond area, but there was research looked into from the Western Wayne side of things by a separate group of people, the Early Learning Indiana and Wayne County Forward, the Early Learning Coalition here in Wayne County was looking at that. And at the same time, sometimes God just works in unique ways. At the same time, Sugar Creek had reached out to us and they wanted us to create a child care center just for their employees. So we started that process in 2019, and they secured a building and a location. And this is a long story because COVID almost put an end to this all. But Early Learning Indiana learned about what we were doing. I think you were part of those conversations to connect us. And we were able to get a $100,000 grant from Early Learning Indiana to get this set up and started. So we received that money in December of 2019, and then COVID hit, as everybody knows, 2020. So everything went on hold. Everything. I mean, we just had no idea what we were going to do, and amazingly, the superintendent of Western Wayne Elementary School reached out, and we made some connections there. And they have provided us three empty rooms at the elementary building, beautiful rooms that we're able to use. And so we have a room for infant care, we have a room for toddlers, and then we have a room for pre-K, 3-year-olds to 5. And we're in that preschool wing. So the really great piece of all this is that literally you could come into the school and be there until you're ready to go to middle school. So our intentions is that our 3 to 5-year-old room will be working very closely with the preschool teachers to make sure that we're getting the kids ready to move into preschool and into kindergarten in that building. So the partnerships are just phenomenal. We are already in 2 months. We opened in February. 2 months, we're ready for our second layer of expansion. And we're already in talks about additional space for next school year as well there. So it's just been a blessing. And Cambridge City was identified, as you just said, as a child care desert. There was no licensed facility there in Cambridge City. So we're really grateful to be able to be a part of a solution in that community.
And it is a wonderful solution for that part of the community, and it just has the opportunity to continue to grow, and that's the great benefit about just getting it there. But it takes a lot. That's a lot of work to have to go and find grants and grant funding and to secure that kind of money. And probably a lot of people don't realize it takes that level of funding to be able to lift something like this off the ground, and that's challenging. So.
It was a full, our child care director, Emily Alejo, just persevered through it all and just was determined to see that this happened. And she and her team just did a phenomenal job to make it happen. But I don't want to, the partnership between Western Wayne Schools, the Dr. Phil Howard there and Jessica, the principal at that building. Then you have Sugar Creek that's added to it. The Wayne County Foundation was such a key in holding those grant dollars for us until we discovered what we needed to do. It's just been all the pieces just came together and everybody was willing to not say, hey, it's my project, but what do we need to do just to fix this and make sure families are served? And that's the attitude it takes for a true partnership to happen.
It does, and that type of collaboration is it sounds really easy, but it's a little bit more challenging than one would expect, but it is what's much needed to be able to make the type of significant impact that adding a child care facility into a child care desert, as Western Wayne was identified, Cambridge City, with YMCA doing that. As we are getting to the last couple minutes of our time together, I want to give you a chance to just tell us about the staff. Like, how does YMCA run? Misty, are you over there doing all these things by yourself? I know you're not.
No, this facility is run 7 days a week. So we open our doors at 5:30 in the morning and close our doors at 8. And then we have 2 churches that meet in our facilities on Sunday morning and Sunday night. We have, I think in total, we're almost to 31 employees total for us. So in addition to our child care staff, we have our fitness staff, we have our front desk staff, and then we have our sports coordinator and all of his volunteers that are part of it. It truly takes everybody to be committed to the mission. And the heart of these employees are just amazing. They pitch in and do what they need to be a part of the team. And as I said earlier, with the child care staff that our director oversees, you have people in College Corner, Liberty, Western Wayne, Cambridge City. So we have employees that drive from Connorsville that support our base. And it's just a full-fledged team working together to make a difference. So we're just very grateful for all of them and for their heart they bring to the table.
Well, our communities that United Way serves, Wayne and Union counties, and where you guys do your work across, are fortunate to have you in the community. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on and telling us about all of that great work. As we wrap up this episode of The Third Sector, I'd like to thank my guests, Misty Hollis, Executive Director of the YMCA, and Leslie Bolser, the Program Director for More Than Words. Thank you for joining me today and sharing with the community the great work that you do. Stay well and see you next time on The Third Sector.